Today we're going to be looking at A Gentle Rain from Incredible Dream Studios. Incredible Dream is the studio that brought Kinfire Delve, a game I'm really fond of. And this one actually happens to be another cooperative game, or a solo game really at its core. The cooperative version is more or less just a turn-taking version of the solo game, which works out just fine because this one is inherently very light and easygoing to begin with. The concept of the game is that you're placing these T-shaped hex tiles to work on adjacency between the different color flowers on each edge. When you surround an open space, as you can see that would make a circle, in the middle of 4, you get to place one of the flower tokens. Now, there are 2 different versions of the game. This is a good time to point that out. This version in my hand is the Bloom Edition, which you can get at Target. It comes with these plastic flowers, but in any case, cardboard hex tiles. And the board game store version of it, LGS version of it, is much smaller, and it replaces the plastic flower tokens with wooden ones. So not a lot lost there. Everything else is pretty much the same, except for the fact that it fits in this really nice little box, which I think I actually prefer. As you can see, this one kind of slides out, and we've got a nice little organizer in there. These bits fit really nicely in between the cardboard tiles. It's kind of fun to slot them in when the time comes. And they do look like little bits of wedding cake toppers, but I'm hearing you should not eat them. Well, it is light. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it, and I'm totally okay with it. Sometimes you get home from work and you just want to play a game without having to worry about the setup and managing an automa that is complicated and puts a lot on your plate. This one, it takes like 3 seconds to set up. You literally take it out of the box and shuffle up and you're ready to go. Now, I will say, there are going to be some games you play that you just can't win, and that's okay. It's short enough where you just shuffle them up and you deal again. But when you do win, it's very satisfying. It feels like you're completing a puzzle. And when you play with friends, it gives you plenty of time to converse with them where you don't have to commit so much of your brain power to the actual game itself. And it gives you something to do that feels like you're accomplishing something together. The game advertises itself to be a contemplative experience. The art supports that. I mean, these are all these nice little pond scenes. There's some frogs swimming around. There's some otters bobbing their heads out of the water. And it turns out to be a really nice way to just kind of wind down. Now, it's more than that, though. I think that there's some strategy that sort of starts to emerge through it. Whereas, like some games, you just flip tiles and it's not going your way. You can't find any matches. You start to discover as you play this more and more that there's some things you have to consider to be more effective at the game. I mean, you're playing into the probability of when can I draw a tile that's going to fit that spot? I need to get my yellow flower down, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving myself the right setup to make that more and more likely. For example, there are no tiles in the game that have 2 of the same color on any edge. So if you set yourself up in one of those situations, it's basically a dead spot. Also, if you make a horseshoe shape, like a U-shaped opening, the chances of finding a tile that satisfies 3 conditions, left, right, and bottom, are much less likely. So when you're kind of creating your setup, you're trying to spread out, you're trying to make the probabilities higher for those tiles. This isn't the type of game for someone to min-max the strategy and try to push it to the limit. Again, you're just trying to enjoy a puzzle. But there are these kind of cool little clever things that you can do that make it more enjoyable for players to engage with. Now, the goal of the game is to place all 8 flower pieces before you run out of tiles. But beyond that, you score for the remaining tiles you have left in the stack when you do that. So, similar to a game like Hanabi where you refer to the rulebook for a sliding scale of what you've done, this game kind of leaves you with, oh man, I got 16 points this time. I want to go for 17 next time. Sometimes you're happy just placing all your flowers, even if it's the last possible tile in the stack. With that said, this might appeal to someone who's interested in doing the Wordle with their family and saying, oh, I got it in 3 or 4 attempts today. I've been sending pictures back and forth to my family members saying, oh man, we got it, and we had 5 tiles left in the stack, and we're very proud of that. And then they'd retort with, yeah, I had 6, so there you go. So with that said, there's a lot to love here. Really easygoing game. It scratches that itch for a puzzle-like activity, gives you something to do after a busy day and wind down. I wouldn't play it with more than 2 players. I think it's probably best with 2 people, put on some music, have some coffee, maybe some snacks, and just work back and forth through the puzzle a few times. Realistically, you could probably play it 4 or 5 times in under an hour. All things considered, I would recommend A Gentle Rain. Either edition's fine, but like I mentioned, the tiny little portable box version is much more accessible for me and fits better into the shelf, which already has limited space. But check this out. So I don't know. Maybe there is an argument for the slim version too. Who's to say?